Hello everybody, and welcome back to the final episode of the reading and writing portion of our digital SAT course. Today's lesson is going to be on infographic evidence. So, what exactly is one of these questions? So, what you're going to have is you're going to be presented with a graphic which will give you some type of evidence. Okay, the question is going to ask you to interpret the graphic to deliver some type of information that's asking you for, and it's very important to know how the information on the graphic is presented to you, because the questions will try to trick you on purpose and try to make you interpret it wrong. So knowing how to read a graph is very important, or obviously a table, as we can see right here. So let's take a look at this. Which choice most effectively uses data from the table to complete the example? So we have our table right here. We can see that it's on ablation rates for 3 elements in cosmic dust. Okay, so now let's read the prompt. Earth's atmosphere is bombarded by cosmic dust originating from several sources. Short period comets, SPCs, particles from the asteroid belt, ASTs, Halley-type comets, HTCs, and Oort cloud comets, OCCs. Some of the dust material vaporizes in the atmosphere in a process called ablation, and the faster the particles move, the higher the rate of ablation. Astrophysicist Juan Diego Carlos Sanchez let it seem that calculated average ablation rates for elements in the dust, such as iron and potassium, and showed that material in slower moving SPC or AST dust has a lower rate than the same material in faster moving HTC or OCC dust. For example, whereas the average ablation rate from iron from AST dust is 28%, the average rate for blank. We're trying to complete this idea using data from the table. So the claim is that material in slower moving SPC or AST, right here, dust has a lower rate than the same material in faster moving HTC or OCC dust. See, HTC and OCC dust moves faster, SPC and AST moves slower. Okay, so we're going to try to make a comparison here. So the average ablation rate for iron from AST dust is 28%. Okay, and since we're talking about the same material, we're going to look at the same element, iron, in a faster moving one, which is HTC or OCC, and we can see that it's 90% and 98%. Okay, so which one of these shows iron? Okay, so it's going to be A or C, and C is the only one that actually talks about your HTC dust and the fact that it's a higher percentage. So that's going to make C correct. Let's try the next one. High levels of public uncertainty about which economic policies a country will adopt can make planning difficult for businesses, but measures of such uncertainty have not tended to be very detailed. Recently, however, economist Sandal Lachwayo analyzed trends in news reports to derive measures not only for general economic policy uncertainty, but also for uncertainty related to specific areas of economic policy, like tax or trade policy. One revelation of her work is that a general measure may not fully reflect uncertainty about specific areas of policy, as in the case of the United Kingdom, where general economic policy uncertainty blank. Okay? So, what we're trying to say here is that she saw that general economic policy uncertainty is a little bit different than uncertainty related to specific areas of economic policy, okay? So, your reservations about your economic policy, you can't just put all of it under one blanket, okay? So you have to look at the specifics of it, which is basically what she's claiming. So here she's comparing general economic policy to what? Okay. And we're saying that it doesn't fully reflect. So we're probably looking for something where general economic policy uncertainty is not related to the other one, okay? So look at A, aligned closely. Align closely, first of all, immediately we know it's wrong, because it's not going to align closely. The claim she's making is that it doesn't, it may not, okay? B, was substantially lower than uncertainty about tax and public spending policy each year from 2005 to 2010, okay? So we have 2005 through 2010. We can see that general policy was supposed to be substantially lower, okay? But each year we see right here, general economic policy was actually higher. Okay, so that would invalidate B. C says, reached its highest level between 2005 and 2010 in the same year that uncertainty about trade policy and tax and public spending policy reached their lowest levels. Well, right here, it reached its highest level. It's actually higher than general economic policy. So that's not supported by the graph. And D was substantially lower than uncertainty about trade policy in 2005 and substantially higher than uncertainty about trade policy in 2010. Okay, so D shows the differences, okay? It doesn't align closely. And what it says is true. It says in the graph, okay, see general economic policy right here, it's substantially lower than trade policy right here, and then it's higher in 2010. So I'd make D the correct answer. Let's look at our very last example. When hibernating, Alaska marmots and Arctic ground squirrels enter a state called torpor, which minimizes the energy their bodies need to function. Often a hibernating animal will temporarily come out of torpor, called an arousal episode, and its metabolic rate will rise, burning more of the precious energy the animal needs to survive the winter. Alaska marmots hibernate in groups and therefore burn less energy by keeping warm during these episodes than they would if they were alone. A researcher hypothesized that because Arctic ground squirrels hibernate alone, they would likely exhibit longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes than Alaska marmots. Obviously, we're looking for data that supports the researcher's hypothesis, and the table is talking about average number and duration of torpor bouts and arousal episodes for Alaska marmots and Arctic ground squirrels in this 3-year period of time. Okay, so let's see which one would support that. We're looking for one where it shows that Arctic ground squirrels have longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes than Alaska marmots. Okay, so the Alaska marmots arousal episodes last for days, while Arctic ground squirrels arousal episodes lasted for less than a day. Okay, so let's see that. Alaska marmots arousal episodes for 11, while the Arctic ground squirrels lasted less than a day. Well, they did, but the Alaska marmots arousal episode lasted for less than a day. Okay, so A is incorrect. B, the Alaska marmots and the Arctic ground squirrels both maintained torpor for several consecutive days per bout on average. Well, this is a similarity between the two, but it doesn't make a comparison between the two, so B would be wrong, because it's not saying that one is longer than the other, it's saying they're both similar, which is not what we're looking for. C, the Alaska marmots had shorter torpor bouts and longer arousal episodes than the Arctic ground squirrels did, and this is true, okay? And it does support the claim, okay? So C would be your correct answer here. Let's look at D. The Alaska marmots had more torpor bouts than arousal episodes, but their arousal episodes were much shorter than the torpor bouts. They were, but this doesn't relate to the claim we're trying to make, okay? So C is still the correct answer here, okay? Let's look at the final tips. Analyze, make note of what the information on the graph is, of course. Use the prompt to find what you need to interpret, and make sure this is actually what the graphic is showing, okay? So if we make a claim here, we're not going to assume this claim is correct. We're going to check it on the graph. We're going to see if it's correct or not. If it's not, the question's wrong, okay? And it might be something that is true, of course, but doesn't relate to what the prompt is asking you to find, okay? So make sure you verify. You make sure that you actually know what you're looking for, and that way you can most effectively find the correct answer. Thank you for watching the series. I will be coming out with an SAT math section, okay? So please stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe. It helps me continue making these videos. And if you would like, I can go back over some topics that I didn't go over thoroughly enough and try to go a little bit more in depth, okay? Good luck on your SATs in the future, and I hope you all the best.